Yo, what up? It's time for a review of an old and classic video game, and today's victim is the OG Resident Evil on PlayStation 1. We're going to take a quick look at what really makes the game tick, and I'm going to let you all know what its true score is. Unfortunately, once a game has its true score, that is a very objective number, and if you do disagree, then you just have to write why in the comments. Alright, a little bit of a spoiler warning to kick off with. I really loved playing through the game. I was binging it so hard that I beat it about 3 times in 5 days, and it's probably been more than a decade since I immediately replayed a game after beating it. It just really had some kind of special sauce in there that made me not able to put it down. The basic premise of the game is that you play as either STARS member Chris Redfield or Jill Valentine, their team having been called to a mansion up in the outskirts of Raccoon City because of reports of people going missing and weird creatures sighted. Obviously, from minute 1, the mission's gone balls up, team members are lost or dead, zombies and other monsters such as like mutant dogs and stuff are all over the mansion and its surrounding areas, and it's up to you to piece together what went wrong and how to escape. As soon as you get hands on, the first thing that really sticks out is the tank controls. If you're a huge zoomer and don't know what tank controls are, then I'll break it down for you. Your character can pretty much only move forward or backward, and the buttons for left and right only tilt the angle that your character's facing, so it can be a little cumbersome at first, but you adjust to it pretty quickly. Even something as simple as turning a corner when there's a slow as shit zombie ahead of you can become a tense moment as you have to commit on whether you turn first and sprint forward, or adjust your angle as you run and risk getting grabbed. The core loop of the game is going room to room, dodging what you can, killing what you can't, and finding resources like health and ammo, or finding puzzle-related items to progress through the mansion and other areas. This is where a lot of the differences between our two playable characters come into play. Chris has only 6 inventory slots for weapons, ammo and items, but moves faster and can take more hits before dying, and Jill has 8 slots, a lockpick for small lock drawers instead of Chris needing to carry around small keys, less health, is slower, and is compensated for this by having an extra and pretty great weapon given to her fairly early on. Each character's playthrough hits the same story beats, but features a different character assisting them through the game, slightly differing moments and enemy placements at certain points, with Jill having less enemies to fight in general, and different conversations, so you can just play one character if you really want to, but playing both is still a pretty rewarding experience. The visuals are definitely not something you're going to be coming to this game for. I mean, to be fair, the game was released in 1996, so for the time it was actually pretty impressive, but compared to anything you'll see in this age, everything kind of looks like it's right out of Minecraft. Happy to say though that the pre-rendered backgrounds still look really nice, so shout out to the guys who made those. Now for the atmosphere and tone, I think this game actually does a really great job of balancing between its really cheesy dialogue and animations and a moody atmosphere that really keeps you on your toes. The mansion has a really lived-in feel to it, all the lights are still on, a lot of things look like they've been recently used, and between that and the journal entries you find, it really does come across that this was a place people were living and working in until only a few days ago when shit went bad. The music and sound do a great job to complement the atmosphere. Most of the game has no real music playing, and relies on ambient noise and sound effects like enemies moaning and walking to give you an indicator of what you're walking into room to room. The music might be sparsely used, but when it is used, it's used to pretty good effect. I remember a puzzle room early on that has really foreboding music that kept me spooked even though there wasn't a single enemy there in the end. Another notable track is the safe room, a really peaceful but still eerie track that lets you know you really are safe here to organise items and save. Whatever you do, don't play the DualShock version though, because for whatever reason, it uses a totally new soundtrack, and my god, I have no idea what they were thinking with it. It totally crashes the vibe, but I mean, if you want your ears to bleed, go off. The last thing that really struck out to me about the game was how replayable it was. Each character has several routes they can take through the story, leading to 4 different endings each. I found that even after my first playthrough, my mind was racing on what rooms and parts I could completely skip to save time and precious ammo, and on my third and final playthrough, I managed to get Jill's best ending in only about 3 hours, which may not be like a speedrunning record or anything, but had me pretty happy with how I did. One flaw I do have for the game is once you do learn the enemy routes and placements, the outside areas and guardhouse do get a little boring to traverse compared to the tight and claustrophobic mansion. I do have one more complaint for the game, and it relates specifically to playing as Chris. Now, I mentioned earlier about how he has 6 inventory slots compared to Jill's 8. It's designed in a way so that you have to more accurately pick what you want to take with you, and you have less slots for picking up new things as you go, but I found that all it did was really waste time in me moving back and forth between the item boxes and the items scattered around the levels. It just caused a lot more backtracking than what was necessary. Coming to a close, I did really love the game. It's ugly, it's cheesy, it's jank as hell, but it's a ride and it's fun to see where the series really came from. After my time spent with the game and mulling over my thoughts for a bit, I've managed to decipher this game's true score, and it's going to be an 8 out of 10. I'm pretty keen to get onto RE2 next, but I mean, who knows what game is going to get its true score next. That's going to be about it from me. Catch ya.